In December 1974, the 34-year-old Bruce Chatwin departed Buenos Aires on the night bus south, beginning a journey that would transform a truant journalist to one of the most stylish and original writers of the late 20th century. That same year, almost to the day, I left school to work as a cowhand in the Buenos Aires province. To the south, the plains spread on and on into Patagonia. I was 17, and of course it scored me. With my head full of all that empty space, I returned 10 months later to tiny, congested England. I instantly forgot the flies, the saddle sores, the boredom. I was desperate to go back. 6 years later, I created an opportunity and travelled through Rio Negro and Chubut to Tierra del Fuego. The military junta had erected signs beside the roads. To know Patagonia is a duty. But no one was taking notice. Patagonia, in the estimation of one Buenos Aires writer, was just emptiness. A back alley where different cultures swirled about, and rather a boring place. One morning, in a gesture soon to be repeated by a generation of backpackers, I was waiting for a bus in the dusty scrubland west of Trelew, when I dug out a book I brought with me. A paperback edition that today bears the creases and marginalia of 3 visits to Patagonia. I'd never heard of the author, but this was the only contemporary book I could find about my destination. I opened the first page, and I read the first paragraph. And that really was that. Patagonia is not a precise region on the map. It is a vast, vague territory that encompasses 900,000 square kilometers of Argentina and Chile. The area is most effectively defined by its soil. You know you're in Patagonia when you see Rodados Patagonicos, the basal pebbles left behind by glaciers, and jarilla, the low bush that is its dominant flora. Patagonia may also be described by its climate. The wind that blows with terrific force from October to March, in Chatwin's expression stripping men to the raw, made Antoine de Saint-Exupéry's plane fly backward instead of forward. Travellers from Darwin onward have noted how this bleakness seizes the imagination. Patagonia's nothingness forces the mind in on itself. In the Museum of Trelew, I found the diary of a stern Welsh pioneer. John Murray Thomas, trekking inland in July 1877, wrote in his fading pencil, "Last night dreamt of Harriet, that we were in the bedroom. Had a nice kiss. Hardly a night passes but that I see her in my dreams." In Patagonia, the isolation makes it easy to exaggerate the person you are. The drinker drinks, the devout prays, the lonely grows lonelier, sometimes fatally. Tom Jones worked as British consul in Punta Arenas. In his 1961 memoir, A Patagonian Panorama, he wrote, "Whether it is the dreary and crude climate of Patagonia, or the lonely life in the camp after the day's work, or remorse after a bout of hard drinking, I cannot say, but I have known some very intimately, well over 20 people who have committed suicide." The first sheep farmers arrived from the Falkland Islands in the late 1860s. The temptation among their descendants to cling to the culture their forebears left behind remains fierce. Patagonia spans 2 nations. A good many of its inhabitants pass a life likewise divided. One often spent replicating the environment they have escaped. The remoter the valley, the more faithful the recreation of an original homeland. In Gaiman, the Welsh preserve their language and their hymns. In Rio Pico, the Germans plant lupins and cherry trees. In Sarmiento, the Boers continue to dry biltong of guanaco. As Chatwin wrote in his journal, the further one gets from the great centres of civilization, the more prevalent become the fanciful reconstructions of the world of Madame du Barry. Barren for the most part, Patagonia is a land of extreme fertility in one respect. To travel through it, as Chatwin soon discovered, is the most jaw-dropping experience because everywhere you turn up, there, sure enough, was this somewhat eccentric personality who had this fantastic story.